Awesome. So hi, everyone. My name is Cameron Hill. My Keystone is entitled Bottom-Up Effect of Pedagogy Transfer Between Learning Assistants and Faculty. Personally, I've been a learning assistant at BU for over 2 years in the Department of Biology, and I've taught over 130 students in the labs of freshman biology and systems physiology. And I set a goal for myself to better understand the intricacies of the LA faculty relationship. I've worked with several faculty, and I wanted to know what makes the LA faculty relationship work, what makes it successful. And so my journey began. The Learning Assistant model is a global initiative to modernize STEM education. It was started back in 2001 at the University of Colorado Boulder. The key tenets of the program include implementation of undergraduate learning assistants and utilization of research-based teaching techniques. So a learning assistant is an undergraduate who performed well in a certain course and comes back to help co-teach the course with the faculty member. They offer a critical peer perspective and interact one-on-one with students to help them succeed. Another key tenet of the program is pedagogy, which is the science and theory of teaching. And all first-time learning assistants enroll in a weekly pedagogy seminar that essentially teaches them how to teach. The central question in my research relates to this last part regarding the exchange of pedagogy. All first-time LAs participate in a pedagogy seminar, which has the potential to impact faculty understanding and utilization of pedagogy. Therefore, I investigated whether or not a bottom-up effect exists, where LAs influence how faculty approach their classroom and interact with students. Is my audio not working?
It's working.
Oh, sorry, never mind. Okay. So phase one, which was the preliminary stage of my research, consisted of performing a secondary analysis of an existing LA exit survey and the 2018 BU LA program faculty survey, as well as conducting one-on-one interviews with 3 LAs and 3 faculty in BU's LA program last summer. The survey and interview data were analyzed to establish a cohesive narrative of BU's LA program. We discussed qualities of a strong LA, the LA faculty relationship, LA experience in the pedagogy seminar, and how to improve the LA program, among other things. And the results suggest that LA faculty partnerships impact faculty understanding and implementation of evidence-based pedagogy. Phase one informs phase two of my research, which hones in on the LA faculty relationship, and this will be the focus of my talk today. I developed a comprehensive survey targeting the LA faculty relationship, which was sent to faculty all across the country at various institutions who have their own LA program. The survey data was then compiled and analyzed with the goal of understanding if LAs impact faculty pedagogy use. Specifically, the survey was composed of several matrix tables with Likert scale questions, as well as an opportunity to provide short responses regarding their personal LA faculty relationships. So a total of 64 faculty from 19 institutions nationwide responded, and the following schools had over 4 responses, including BU, George Mason, St. Cloud State, and Rochester Institute of Technology. So as you can see, we had faculty respond not only from Boston and the New England area, we had faculty respond from the East Coast and the West Coast and in the middle of the country. So we certainly had national representation here in our convenient sample. Here are some important data points that were collected. Overall, a majority of faculty are self-reporting that they agree that the more they work with LAs, the more the discussions with their LAs shift from more course content to more teaching strategies. Working with LAs encourages faculty to use research-based teaching techniques in the classroom. Working with LAs encourages faculty to reevaluate the way they teach their class. They've become better teachers, and arguably most important, their teaching style has changed since bringing LAs into the classroom. We then asked faculty what proportion of the time they spend on traditional lecturing in the classroom versus what proportion of the time they spend on student-centered activities. So we defined traditional lecturing as a PowerPoint-based lecture where the faculty lectures at the students, and it's a fairly one-sided conversation with very limited input from the students. Whereas student-centered activities are essentially everything else. It could be discussion among peers, with the LA, the faculty, anything that actively engages the students in the classroom. So on average, the more years faculty teach with LAs, the less time they are spending on traditional PowerPoint-based lecturing. Conversely, the more years faculty teach with LAs, the more time they spend on average with student-centered activities. So this suggests that more years teaching with LAs may be associated with a shift from traditional lecturing to more student-centered activities. As the last slide suggests, there's a shift in faculty teaching strategies the more they teach with LAs, and this is further evaluated with the data we present here. So let's take an even deeper dive. We asked faculty how often they use certain teaching techniques before they taught with LAs, and how often those same faculty utilize those teaching techniques now that they teach with LAs in the present day. So we were really interested in that shift. Here, the delta values are presented, and while there's a lot of amazing data that we could discuss here, I'm just going to hone in on a few key points. Since teaching with LAs, faculty are self-reporting that they more often utilize active learning, discussion-based teaching, and group work in the classroom. Active learning is any form of teaching that encourages participation among students in the classroom. Discussion-based teaching involves some form of discussion among students and the faculty. And group work could be a group case study or a group project, for example. Interestingly, in those three categories, the magnitude of the percent decrease in the sometimes column is nearly identical to the magnitude of the percent increase in the often column, which suggests that faculty are shifting their utilization of certain teaching techniques the more that they teach with LAs. For example, let's take a look at active learning. So there's a 42% decrease in the sometimes column and a nearly identical increase in the often column, which further suggests this shift in teaching techniques among faculty who teach with LAs. Lastly, there is a decrease in the amount of faculty who often use PowerPoint-based lecturing, which further suggests this shift to more active learning techniques now that faculty teach with LAs. So from these two slides, we understand that LAs fundamentally impact faculty teaching strategies, since faculty are self-reporting that they're increasing their use of active learning teaching techniques and increasing the proportion of the time they spend on student-centered activities in the classroom. Furthermore, we have evidence of this bottom-up effect of pedagogy transfer from LAs to faculty with the following select quotes. Faculty are self-reporting that since working with LAs, their teaching style has changed. They have more freedom to explore new things in the classroom with an LA, says one faculty member. Faculty have incorporated more active learning in discussion-based teaching. One faculty says it lets them use pedagogy in the classroom that they otherwise would not be able to use. And I know from personal experience that LAs take on a certain set of responsibilities in the classroom, which afford faculty the opportunity to experiment with teaching techniques that they otherwise would not be able to use. Lastly, faculty have become better educators. Teaching with an LA is one of the most rewarding teaching experiences, says one faculty member, and I cannot imagine a better way to support learning in the classroom. So as far as the future of teaching with LAs, I would argue that the future of higher education is bright thanks to the LA program. While faculty are not required to pursue formal teaching coursework, the LA program naturally enables them to reflect on their teaching techniques and improve their overall classroom environment. And LA's fundamental understanding of pedagogy seems to impact how a professor approaches their classroom, interacts with students, and as a result, their pedagogy has evolved since teaching with LAs. So I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to my Keystone presentation. And I'd like to extend a special thank you to the following incredible individuals, colleges, and programs for their continued support and guidance through this really incredible research journey. So thank you all for listening.